So good morning. Have a few moments just lying on your mat. Take a nice deep breath and maybe a nice big sigh, and just check in with yourself. Notice if the mind is busy, whether it's jumping from thing to thing that we've got to do later, or whether we can just sort of tune back into our breath and leave all that aside until it's the right time. So just have a few moments to relax. Notice how the body's feeling today. Whether there's any aches or pains or areas you need to be kind with. And just notice the movement of the breath in your body. Notice if the breath is shallow or whether it's naturally deep today. And with every out-breath, there's that opportunity to just let a little bit more through your body soften. When the mind wants to wander off onto something else, just come back to the sensation of breath. And then just noticing how you're feeling, whether just something comes up and you can tune in to how it is for you in the moment. Notice if there's something you need from your practice today, whether there's something you can just bring an affirmation into your day. I am calm, I am relaxed. Everything will get done. So, if you're lying down, have a few moments now just to have a stretch and then bring the knees in for a little rock. And we're going to come to seated shortly for a little quietness, meditation before we start our practice. And actually, if you do have mala beads, you don't have to have them, but if you do have them, then it's quite nice. We will use them today. There's 108 beads in a mala chain, which is significant in many, many ways. If you are interested, you can sort of Google it and look it up. It's to do astrologically with the lengths and diameters of planets and stars and all sorts of things related to different religions. So there's a significance in the fact it is 108. So we'll sit here and we'll thumb through them. Just let the bead chain just roll through your hands as the thumb just pulls another one past you. And I'd like you to think of a mantra or a word. I quite like to use so, hum, which it links with the sound of the breath. Perhaps you'll thumb through one bead on so and the next one on hum and then so, hum. Or if you have a lovely little phrase that you like, then you can do that. So it usually takes about 5 minutes. Let's just relax our hands and relax our eyes and we'll begin. following your breath. Noticing if your mind is becoming a little clearer. And then just as you come to the end of your mala chain, or if you didn't have any, just gently coming back from your practice. It's just nice sometimes to have a mala chain because there's a set amount of beads on there, and if you just give yourself that time, it's just a moment of coming to stillness and quietness and just sort of returning back to yourself. It really is a lovely practice, and that literally was probably just under 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to start with caterpillar, a forward fold. So just joining me with the legs extended. It's nice just to walk the pads of the buttocks out so that you'll feel your sit bones connect more to the mat. If you need something rolled under the knees, you can take a small blanket if you need to. Otherwise, we'll just explore coming into this gentle forward fold. When you first come into it, you might feel like your legs are quite rigid and tight. But as you start to relax, they may want to roll outwards a little. And gently softening into the back and just allowing the body to do whatever it wants to do without any agenda. This is a lovely pose for your bladder, the urinary bladder meridian. Noticing your breath and whether the breath feels shallow, whether you can deepen. And then every now and then, just seeing if the body's created a little bit more space to move into. So always trying to observe a stretch in our yin poses. We want to feel something, but not to the point of any pain or discomfort that we know isn't right. Breathing deeply. Just keep checking through your body to see if any areas have tensed up, perhaps in the legs or the upper back. And we'll just take a few more breaths, conscious breaths here. And slowly lifting ourselves up and coming back. Just gently being aware of everything that you're feeling as you roll down. And relax. Give your tail a little wag, rock the pelvis a few times just to get into a comfortable neutral spine. And it might take a few moments to feel safe enough to soften everything. And then letting the tummy, all the muscles in the tummy soften, and your back. Deep breaths. What are you feeling and where do you feel it? And is there any chi sensation in the body? So gently bring your right knee in and then your left knee. Have a lovely little rock. We're going to come into twisted roots. So a two-sided pose twist. I'm going to suggest, normally what we do is we bring the left leg over the right and across the legs, and sometimes that can be quite harsh on the hips. If you feel like you would like to, try this pose and just maybe lean the legs over, but with a stack of pillows to the side of your knee, then that can be quite a nice posture to come into if you just need to be very gentle. So for this pose, I always use a cushion for the side my knees come to and a little rolled blanket for the opposite shoulder. And so yeah, just see if that feels better. Just leaning the knees to the right hand side, maybe with 2 or 3 pillows. That can be very comforting to the body. But if you like, you can also just cross the legs as we normally do. Roll the body over into a twist. If you know this pose doesn't suit you at all, just choose another 2-sided pose. We will be coming into hammock later as another 2-sided posture. You might actually come into this pose which you're very familiar with and think, actually today I don't want to cross the legs, and so I'm actually going to uncross them and just have them to the side. It's all about how you feel in the moment. Notice what your body wants rather than what the ego often tells us. And then you can just draw the arms out if that feels nice. Most of all, when you're in the pose, just see where you can relax. Let yourself become passive. Still feel the stretch in a curious way, as long as it's not painful. Such a fine line in our yin style of yoga to become passive in the body, but still attentive to the stretch that the body feels. So notice if there's a little bit more that you can relax in the lower back, around the sides of the waist. Sometimes the thighs and buttocks will want to stay tight. And just enjoying being aware of your breath. Following the movement in your body. Noticing if there's certain areas you still have to come back to and relax. You might be able to move some of the props you're using if it becomes more comfortable to stretch a bit more. And then just notice what's going through your thoughts. Having that ability to witness our mind, being that observer rather than the slave to thoughts that meander through our mind the whole time. So just gently, one more breath, and then we'll slowly move out of this pose. Be very aware of moving all the parts of your body and coming onto your back. And just take your time to place your body down. How do you feel? Where do you feel any sensation? Inner thighs, side of the body, perhaps feels different from one side to the other. And again, just observe your thoughts. Where do they go? It's curious sometimes when thoughts do come into the mind, where did they come from? Especially if it's a random thought. So let's draw knees in. We're going to kind of come into the other side of that twist. So if you crossed your legs, maybe explore that this side, and if you did like I did, just resting them to the side, then perhaps balancing with the same posture. And if you needed a little support for your opposite shoulder, just take a few moments to get that into place, and then just feeling into the pose, gentle twist. So twists quite often work your solar plexus above your navel, that center of feeling motivated and taking action in life, confidence. So if you ever do find that you're a bit lacking, lethargic, your confidence has been knocked a little bit, coming into a twist is a lovely way of encouraging that energy back, bringing some balance. So enjoy how it feels to breathe here. Keep relaxing. It's linked with the health of our digestive system as well. So how are we digesting life at the moment? Can we stomach it? Does life flow easily at the moment? Or are we coming up against a lot of barriers? Noticing any differences that you feel this side, whether it's easier to be in the twist this side or it's a bit more awkward. Does it still feel quite tense in certain parts of your body? Following your breath, noticing your thoughts. And we'll just take one more breath. Very slowly coming out of this twist. And just finding Shavasana. Have a little wriggle if you need to. And relax. Where are you feeling any deep sensations? And then we'll bring our knees in. Perhaps take a little bit longer here just to enjoy a nice rock and even out any tightness that we're feeling in the back. Bringing the head up if that feels nice. Rolling in some circles. And the other way. And then gently the sensations will fade. So with Caterpillar we came forwards and we're going to come into Heart Bench now as a counter pose. If Heart Bench doesn't feel right for you, you've always got the option of bench, which is a nice sort of softer, where we take the cushion behind us a few inches and lie back, making sure that the neck is supported. But if you quite enjoy Heart Bench, join me with your 2 blocks. One is for the head on the top height, and the other one aligns along the length of the spine, just behind that heart area. So we'll just gently come down, finding that best position for you. It might take a few goes just to fidget. It always takes me a few moments to shift it a little and find the perfect spot. And then relaxing. And just allow the chin to rest inwards. So how does this pose feel? It always feels a little odd when we come into it firstly. But just giving the body time, it can really feel quite relieving in the upper back, where a lot of us can hold tension if we're busy doing things with our arms. That upper back between the shoulder blade area. Modern lifestyle, we're usually always hunched forwards. So this really is a lovely counter pose for modern lifestyle. Taking the shoulders back and the chest forwards. How do you feel in this pose today? This position links ever so much to the heart. our emotional centre. So it's nice just to sort of check in with how we're feeling. What's our emotional state? Following your breath, a gentle rise and fall of the belly. Keep relaxing through your neck. Does this pose make your heart feel softer, a bit more open and compassionate? So one more breath. And then very gently supporting your body with your arms, lift your head first and then coming up, blocks aside, coming down. Always such a lovely feeling afterwards. Just take a few moments. You might think, oh, my body really needed that. So again, just noticing whatever you're feeling, wherever you're feeling it in the body, whether it's a physical sensation, whether a feeling or emotion has shifted. Whether a certain recurring thought has just disappeared. And then we'll draw knees in. Nice gentle rock. You can perhaps still feel where that block was. And then rolling up, if you have your yoga straps to hand, I'm going to come into a lovely two-sided pose called hammock, which is really nice because it's an elevation of the legs, so a gentle inversion, but also lovely around the neck as well. So come into a lying position with the strap around your right foot, and then we place the other side of the strap around the base of the skull, not the neck. It's never around the neck, it's just at the base of the skull bone. And then left leg can be bent or lying flat to the mat, whichever you prefer. I like to have the strap around sort of the ball of the foot rather than the middle of the foot, but just wherever feels right for you. And relax. Sometimes you'll feel tightness in your tummy, your tummy muscles. Might be tight through your hamstring, back of the thigh, your calf muscle. And then just explore every now and then when you're resting in this posture. Maybe a little push into the foot. Feels nice in the back of the neck, very gentle. And then when the head becomes ever so heavy, you can start to feel a stretch through the back of the leg more. Relax your abdominal muscles if you do occasionally find that they're tight again. How does this pose feel for you today? Now and then you can explore whether you can straighten the leg a little, whether there's a bit more movement and space and stretch. Always just find that sort of 70% marker in your stretch. So never full out where you could hurt yourself, but not to the point where you're not really feeling anything either. You want to enjoy what we're doing, stretching the body. Can you let the head become heavy and the shoulders feel heavy? Enjoying that stretch in the back of the leg. And then if you want to, I quite like to unhook the strap from the head and just have a little bit of movement, free movement. So hold onto your strap and just let your legs swing out to the side. Nice stretch on the inner thigh. And then just moving wherever you want to. Being curious as to what you feel with all these little adjustments. Where you find you need to bend the knee, where you can have the leg straight. And then we'll just lower down. Swap your feet over, but then have a little moment to rest and just feel what's going on. Where do you feel some tingly sensation perhaps now? Back of the leg? Is it more thigh or calf muscle? And just feeling those sensations fade. Let's come into the other side. If you want to bring the knees in and have a little rock first, you can, or if you're happy just to come straight into the posture. Again, just reminding you just that the strap doesn't rest on the neck, it's above the neck. It's nice to start with a nice bend in the knee first, and then just start to explore straightening, lengthening, and where it feels just right for you today. You might notice you get a little bit of a shake or a quiver in the leg, and that might just be your point that is where you need to be. Relaxing your tummy if you find that you're pushing out and it's all tight. And is there any difference this side with your sensation? It's nice sometimes to close the eyes and really feel a lot more of what's going on. We're withdrawing the senses, which is one of the other limbs of yoga, pratyahara, withdrawing the senses. So just closing the eyes, tuning in. Aware of your breath, following the breath. Notice if you like this pose today, whether it's feeling beneficial. It's lovely to raise the legs anyway and just allow fluids to drain in the opposite direction. And then if you want to take a minute or so to unhook the strap and have a little bit of free movement, you can join me. Where does it feel good? Where does it feel strange? And having moved the right leg, you can just check in with any difference in flexibility and mobility this side. We often have a more flexible and slightly more resistant side to the body. And then gently just lower your foot down. You can unhook your foot from your strap now and just have a few moments to feel those after effects. I think sometimes you can feel just as potent a feeling after your pose and you come into this rest, as much as you do so in the pose itself. What do you feel in this stillness? Where do you notice chi, prana moving, coldness, little spots of different temperature changes? Does it feel like your energy is flowing more freely now? Or can you notice or have an intuition about areas that may still feel blocked or stagnant of energy? Perhaps lacking in energy. I always think of the meridian channels a little bit like the different phases of a river. Sometimes you can have very, very shallow water, there's not much going on there. Other times it can be really full and an abundance of water. Other times there might be a massive boulder in the way of the flow that's creating blockage and strain. So it's interesting to think of how your energy flows a little bit like nature. So draw the knees in, have a nice little moment to rock, ease out anything through the back. It's nice to massage the digestive system too. And then when you're ready, coming into relaxation. So choosing to stay lying down or come up to seated. Popping on some warm clothes or a blanket. Even if you don't feel like you need the warmth, sometimes a blanket can just feel very nurturing. Nice comfort blanket. So let's have a little card today. Okay, one's fallen out and another one has flipped over. So we'll take that. We'll take these two and see what wisdom, guidance we're given today. So as you have a few moments to relax, soften your body. And this little message, making a choice. You're required to come to a decision now. You're faced with a dilemma or a fork in the road and must make a conscious choice regarding the next right action. Whatever choice that choice is, you must take responsibility for it. Yet you needn't be afraid. You may not have all the answers right now, because the way ahead can't be known until you've embarked and travelled a few steps. Trust your intuition. Ask for a sign from the Spirit, and you will be led to the right path. If you remain conscious and aware, your choice will be the right one at this time. Life is always about learning. Success lies in choosing consciously, guided by intuition and spirit. And the other little message, cleaning house. It's time to clear the clutter to make way for better things. When you see the cleaning house card in a reading, it's time to declutter your life. Get rid of unwanted things in your physical home and release what you no longer want or truly need. Is there an unfinished business you should address? Any unfinished business you should address? Thoughts, memories, and emotional baggage must be swept out of your house as well. Your conscience must be clear for you to move freely in the world. Celebrate a spring cleaning and feel the freedom as you make way for much better things. Look at what you've resisted discarding and be honest about its value. Be honest. Clean house. So that's an interesting card, that one, because it's not just having a clear out at home. It also talks about what we can release in terms of memories and emotional baggage that often can be very heavy around us. Sometimes I think the physical act of clearing a home does encourage the release of the emotional stuff that we no longer need anymore. So have a little think on those two cards about maybe needing to make a choice or a decision, and then cleansing. So gently, just coming back from wherever your thoughts were. Noticing if you had any new thoughts or inspirations. And gently starting to just move your body, wiggle fingers, toes. If you're seated, maybe rolling shoulders. If you're lying down, you can roll shoulders and Tilt the head. And then when you're ready, you can hug knees in, have a nice little roll on your back. Again, just have these few moments to observe your breath. Observe your body, how you're feeling. And then, in your own time, rolling up to seated. Take a few moments just to ground your energies down again. Through the tailbone, nice tree roots. And then we can draw our hands to heart center. Om Shanti. Namaste.